Hey, what's up, guys? In today's lesson, we are learning how to do the percent of change. And so to help you understand what finding the percent of change is like, I want you to imagine that you are playing a sport, all right? For me, because I'm a baller, I'm going to immediately talk about basketball. And so in basketball, my first year of playing basketball, I was scoring 10 points, about 10 points a game, all right? So I was getting some buckets, cashing out. And in my second year of playing basketball, I was averaging 25 points a game, all right? Now, that's not really a true story, but just imagine this with me. Imagine I was scoring 10 points. Now I'm scoring 25 points a game. And so I want to know, how much did my average increase? Well, it went up. And I want to know what percent did it go up? Well, that's exactly what we are doing in this lesson. We are doing real world problems where something is changing and we are figuring out what percent it changed, right? And so if we think about the problems we were doing before, imagine we're buying some item and we're buying it for a different price than what it was originally. And so, in today's topic, we're actually finding the percent of the change. So these problems are a little different than what we had done in previous lessons, all right? And so to help guide you through this, I have these 4 steps, and depending on how you do it, these steps could be different, but these are kind of 4 steps that I want to give you to help guide you in finding the percent of change. Step 1 is going to be to set up the proportion. And we are going to do it exactly in terms of setting up our proportion. It's going to be the same letters that we used before, which was P over B equals R over 100. Okay, now that P is the part. All right, I want you to say part. All right, the B is the base, but we also said that is the amount before, or original sometimes can be. All right, there's a lot of different words that you can use to describe the B, okay? And then the R is always the rate, and the rate is always the percent, all right? And so again, this is just a review from previous lessons. Step 2 is now we are going to find the difference. We are going to find the amount that it is changing, okay? So the difference or the change. And that is going to be what our P is. Our P is going to be that thing that is changing. It was this, now it's this, okay? And the way we're going to figure that out, difference in math means the answer to a subtraction problem. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take the big number and we're going to subtract the smaller number, okay? Now, again, there's a lot of different ways that I could describe this, but I think one of the easiest ways is just to remember, hey, I'm going to take whatever the big number is, I'm going to subtract it by the small number. Then step 3 is going to be to solve the proportion, right? And how do we solve proportions? We've been doing this all unit. It is to cross multiply and divide. Okay? Cross multiply and divide. And once we solve our proportion, we're going to have our percent. And then step 4 says, is this an increase or a decrease? Now, a lot of times the word problem is going to ask you, it's going to say, what is the percent of increase or what is the percent of decrease? But I want you to keep in mind that, again, each problem is different. Sometimes you're finding the increase, sometimes you're finding the percent decrease. All right. So, pause it if you don't have these steps. Hopefully you should have been writing it as I was. And we're going to do a couple examples. All right, so example number 1, we're going to get to some word problems, but I want to start by just giving you just the information that you need, okay? So we have, this is what it was before, it was 15, after it was 12, okay? So step 1, I'm going to set up my proportion, which is line equals line over 100. That's my proportion. Now I'm going to start filling in my information, okay? Before, that word before is the base, right? From previous lessons, we know that. So that is going to be the 15. Now, we are looking for the percent of increase. So the percent, the rate, the R, we don't know what that is. So really, because we don't know that, we're going to use the X there. That's what we're trying to figure out. And then for my P, okay, again, for my P, if you look to step 2, I got to figure out what is the difference, okay, because it was this before, now it's that after, so I got to find the difference. I'm going to take the bigger number, subtract the smaller number, 15 minus 12, that's going to give me 3. Okay, so that is the difference. It was 15, then it changed to 3. The difference, the amount that it changed was 3. And now I have my proportion, and then I solve my proportion the same way I have been solving them. But this time, the X is here, so I'm going to cross multiply this way, and then I'm going to divide by that number. Okay, so I am cross multiplying in a different direction, but again, it is the two. I'm multiplying in the direction that I have 2 numbers, right? So just get them right there. Sorry, I had some friends visiting me. Y'all say hey to the video.
Hey.
They can't see y'all, but it's okay. All right. All right, so cross multiply 3 times 100, then divide by 15. Okay, and that is going to give me the X. So 3 times 100, that's going to give me 300, and then 300 divided by 15, and that is going to give me 20, and so 20 is my X. So, again, because that is, again, the X is the rate, that is the percent of, now, is that increase or decrease? If it was 15 before, and then it went to 12 after, it went down, so that is a decrease, 20% decrease. All right, let's look at question number 2. We're gonna, again, we're looking for, find the percent of increase or decrease. All right, so immediately when it asks about a percent, I'm gonna set up my proportion, line equals line over 100. Okay, then it says that it's 90 before. So the B, before, base, original, all of those, again, is gonna go at the bottom. Again, I'm finding the percent increase, which is the rate that I'm looking for the percent, and that's the X that goes over the 100. And then this is the number after, okay? So to figure out the P, again, I'm doing the big number, again, the big number minus the small number, okay? So I'm gonna do 202.5 minus 90, okay? And when I subtract that, that's going to give me my P. That's going to give me the change, the difference, okay? So 202.5 minus 90, that is 112.5, okay? So 112.5. Now I have my proportion set up. To solve the proportion, I'm going to cross multiply and then divide. So 112.5 times 100 divided by 90. That is going to give me my R. That's going to give me my rate, okay, which is the X. All right. So 112.5 times 100. Then I'm going to divide that by 90. And that is going to give me 125. That's my R. So again, in this case, again, R is the percent. So 125%. Now, is that an increase or is that a decrease? Well, it was 90 before, then it went up to 202, and so that is a percent increase because it went up. All right, hey, I'm going to give you a couple more problems. Again, all of these we're going to be solving these the same way, but I just want you to see it can be written a couple different ways. All right, so for the next 2, I'm just going to help you set it up, and then I want you to solve it on your own. Okay, so you know what? I want you to pause it, see if you can solve it, and then you come back and see if you can, if you've gotten it correctly. The original number is 45. The new number is 60. So the original, that's the base, the number before. Again, I'm looking for the percent increase. So that is the X, the R. And then to figure out that P, I got to do the big number minus the small number. That's going to give me the difference. That's going to give me the change. I'm looking for how much did it change. Okay, so solve that. 60.75 minus 45, 15.75 is the change. That's the amount it changed. So I get here, cross multiply and divide. So 15.75 times 100 divided by 45. That is going to give me the X, which is the R in this case. So 15.75 times 100 divided by 45, and that gives me 35. So the rate is 35, which is a 35%, is 35%. Now, is it an increase or is it a decrease? Well, the original number is 45, new number is 60. That is an increase. All right. Now, last one here. Regular price, the regular price. Regular, again, I should think regular, original price before the sale. Okay. So, set up my proportion. Okay. The regular price, again, that's the price before. The prices changed, so I got to figure out the P, which is the change. Okay, big number minus the small number. Okay, so 31.99 minus 22.39. Okay, that's going to give me the change. And then the X or the R is what I'm looking for. So $31.99 minus $22.39. The difference or the change is $9.60 is the difference. So what I'm going to do to solve the proportion is I'm going to cross multiply and divide. Divided by $31.99. So I got $9.60 times 100 gives me 960. Divide that by $31.99. And that's going to end up giving me is 30.009. I'm going to say it's safe to say you can just round that to the nearest whole. Okay. And so that is the X, which the X in this case is the rate. All right. So again, we got 30%. Now, is that percent an increase or a decrease? Well, the regular price was $31. The sales price was $22. So did the price go up or did it go down? It went down. So that is a 30% decrease. Now, we've done 4 examples here. We have been gearing up all of this to get to the last 2 problems, which are the word problems. Okay? So, in these last 2, before you just watch the video, I'm going to encourage you to see if you can set it up by yourself, and then watch the video to see me solve it. But the steps are the same. Just read the problem carefully, plug the information where it goes, and then solve it. Problem number 5. So last year, the 6th grade had 350 students. This year, the number of students is 425. What is the percent of change from last year to this year? Okay, so again, it's asking me what is the percent of change from last year to this year. I'm gonna set up my proportion. Again, it's asking me for the percent. Okay, so that is the R, right? The percent is the R, the rate, again, you know, usually sometimes you can put your X there. And now I gotta figure out where does my information go? Well, last year there were 350 students. That was last year. And then this year it is 400. So we're trying to figure out the change from last year to this year. So what was the original number? What was the number before? Well, that was the 350. The 350 is the number that it was originally, before, okay? Before the change, right? Then I gotta figure out that P is my change. So how do I figure out the difference between these numbers? In other words, how much did it change from the first year to the second year? Well, to do that, I gotta subtract 425 minus the 350. 425 minus the 350. 75. So my 75 is the difference. That's the change. It went from 350 to 425. 75 students changed. 75 students were added. Okay. Now to figure out my percent of change, again, once I got my proportion set up, cross multiply, divide. 75 times 100 divided by 350. That is going to give me the percent change. Okay, so multiply 750 times 100, 7,500. Then divide that by 350. And that is going to give me the percent change, which is 21.4. Again, 42. I'll say you can round that to the nearest whole number. Is fine. Again, usually the problem will tell you, round it or. So that is the R. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, that means there was a 21%. Was it an increase or was it a decrease? Right? Did it go up or did it go down? Well, it was a 21% increase. All right, from last year to this year. All right, and then last problem. In 2020, 125 students attended the winter dance. This year, 210 students are planning to attend the dance. What is the percent increase from last year to this year? Again, this one is another increase. Sometimes it might be decreased. You just gotta, read the question. So I'll help you set it up. It was 125 students that attended last year. 210 students are planning to attend. What is the percent increase? All right. I'm looking for the R, the percent. It was, which is going to be my original? Was the original 120 or the 210? The 120, right? I'm sorry, the 125 was the original. Now I got to figure out the change. What was the difference from the first year to the second year? Okay, so you do the 210 minus the 125. That's going to give us the difference of those. Minus 125. That is 85 students. Okay, and then we cross multiply, divide 85 times the 100 divided by 125. That's going to give me the rate, which is the percent change. 85 times 100 divided by 125, and that gives me 68 is the R. And again, what does that mean? Well, that means there was a 68%. Again, the question says increase, so it is an increase. Okay. So hopefully what you will see in this, just like in the previous lessons, the key is make sure you are paying close attention to what the problem is asking you and plugging the information. You set up the proportion, and that is how you find the percent of change for real world situations. If you got any questions, make sure you ask them. But for the rest of the class, you're just going to spend some more time doing some practice problems. So good luck getting those done.